Hello, my name is Aaron Kavanagh and I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of Post-Burnout.com. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. This is our website's podcast where we publish full-length recordings of our interviews, which are sometimes the unedited versions of our site's articles and at other times are exclusives. If you're a returning listener, thank you for coming back, and if this is your first time listening, thank you for checking us out. We hope you enjoy and consider subscribing, giving the episodes a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, or giving it a rating if you're anywhere else. It really helps us out. Thank you. In this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, we talk with vocalist Sam Jones and bassist Seán Woods of the Dublin-based alt-rock band AZURE. They discussed their debut EP, Casa Del Dáil, which was released today, the 6-year gap between forming in 2017 to officially getting the project rolling in 2023, building self-sufficient music networks in Ireland, the logistics of being a 5-piece band that's spread out throughout the country, and much more.
Yes, the first thing I was going to ask quite simply is, about the formation of the band. I mean, I understand it started technically 2017, right? It's kind of like you, Sean, some of your mates kind of started this band, but you don't really consider the formation of the band to be until Sam joined the vocals and your Sam joined on drums. Last year was kind of like the sort of announcement of the band, the kind of official announcement of the band, officially putting stuff out. How long has this been kind of going on in the background?
So, kind of about a year ago at this point, almost a year.
Yeah, say late March, April or so.
Is when I found Sam anyway. I think found him online looking for musicians. Kind of the way I like to think about it is before 2023, it was just kind of a few lads that played music together, and then kind of started 2023, I went to Devon and I was like, I want to get this band going properly, and that's kind of when we started thinking about taking stuff seriously. And then kind of around February, March is when we actually started looking, and we found Sam a few weeks later, and pretty much that's kind of when the whole idea of the band started. We wrote a few songs in that kind of time frame as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just right as Sam was joining in is when we started writing. Pretty much as soon as Sam 2, as he was affectionately known, right as Sam 2 joined,
it's not
we
preference,
started.
It's just order.
Yeah. Sam A, Sam B.
Yeah. It feels, that's about the only way we can distinguish between the two of us.
That you don't use their names.
It'd feel weird calling him Kevin. Parsons and Jones. Yeah. That was a while where I was going to go by Jones.
Yeah, no.
But that's about when the songwriting processes kicked off. Was about May, June or so.
May or June, yeah.
What sort of stuff did you have in the pipeline before like that? Because I know, for example, the first song you guys put out was Introduction, which was an instrumental kind of acoustic track. Did you have those songs kind of in the background, or? What was kind of the sort of process in that?
Oh, for introduction now. The introduction.
Yeah, that's actually
that was never to be released. It was always considered just a placeholder so we could get kind of Spotify set up. But we also love it, so we left it there because it adds a real kind of.
It wasn't even its own track for ages. It was
a completely different song.
The intro to a different song. It was called Interlude.
So sorry, just to be clear, it was written after you joined the band, right?
That one was written, the entirety of it.
No, it was written before Sam joined.
Before, it was only cut down to that smaller demo after I joined.
I think that smaller demo was actually something Evan L sent us. I was like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And I think we just ended up using that as the placeholder, just for the sake of having something.
Yeah, it was originally the dummy track we were going to delete, and then I think there was a couple of people said it to it, that's really good, keep that.
Yeah, I really like it too. I think it's I know it's funny that that was the intent, was just to be a placeholder, because I thought it was a very very well developed instrumental personally, so then you were kind of mentioned there, you joined the band, so I assume it was kind of online thing, joining the band kind of scenario. What was it for you, Sam, that kind of endeared you to this lot?
Pardon?
What was it that kind of endeared you to this lot?
I first talked to Seán online, and I was just sort of seeing the kind of music that he was into. I was like, I can work with this. I'd been in a band before, that was a lot less serious. We kind of were just goofing off. So the first couple times we had practices together and everything was sort of like well regimented and like there was actually sort of some vague structure to what we were doing. Like it seemed well intentioned. I was like, oh shit, this could actually be something like interesting to see how it plays out. Like, but over time, you know, just you spend enough time around people, come up with interesting little ideas to work on. And
had you heard them, or was it just like similar interests and kind of like foundation?
yeah, I think it was just similar interests. That was most of what it was over.
Yeah, we didn't have very much. We had like one or two little demos that we had sent. I think I'd sent you, but that was
like Warn Yourself on Interlude or something.
No, it wasn't Interlude. No.
Some old songs that we haven't played in ages.
It's funny you say you haven't played in ages, you're like a year old.
Yeah, the first couple of practices were pretty much just me learning their old material.
Yeah.
And then every practice after that was us trying our best to write something to replace the old material.
Sure. Did the old songs, they have lyrics to them, or how's that kind of work? Like, do you write lyrics for the songs, or is it, how's the kind of, like, I guess, writing the lyrics side of things, how's that kind of,
Whatever it started out, it was the lyrics you had written on the songs.
For anything before Sam, I had written the lyrics for those. And I think the one song we actually ended up keeping kind of in our rotation, and we haven't played Warn Yourself in a few months at this point, but even that had changes in the lyrics when Sam joined, because I pretty much went to him, this is awful, please fix it.
They're just like, you make any changes you want to make, anything at all. I was like, no, it's fine. And then we sang it 2 or 3 times and I was like, okay, minor change, one little thing. But, and then from that point onwards, it was pretty much always either you or FNL coming with some foundational riff or like piece of instrumentation, and then we'd flesh it out as a group into a full instrumental, and then I'd put lyrics on it towards the end. That's how it basically always goes.
That's an interesting dynamic, because I was thinking I don't know, like when I listen to instrumentation, so my mind automatically generates lyrics, you know, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's just the way I think my brain works. I was wondering if that's the same for you, like you just kind of you come in with kind of predetermined ideas of what the lyrics are going to be, or do you kind of just listen to the instrumentation and go, this is where the song's going?
I have a couple, I think I'm sort of running out of them now, but I had years and years of, I never really released too much stuff anywhere, but I had a lot of songbooks where I'd write bits and pieces that I intended to use. So the first couple of songs we wrote, a lot of them just came from bits and pieces I'd written years ago. Like I know for Leave It Out, it was a poem I wrote when I was like 16 or 17, most of that. Just me going, oh, I like how that sounds. All right, does that fit here? Edit it a little bit, fit it in.
Sure.
But a lot of it is like, I used to find when I was writing stuff that I would try and mold the music around the words, and it didn't work. It sounded kind of clunky. Yeah, so I find it a lot easier to go the other direction and have the music, so I can sort of edit the lyrics. It's a lot easier to edit than the music, I think.
I agree. It is very difficult, I think, to program the lyrics. You have the kind of samples and stuff like that. And do you find I don't know, kind of poetry kind of as a separate vocation? Then is that something you want to go as a different thing, or are you kind of content to get your kind of poetic juices from this band?
Yeah, I still sometimes I do creep back into poetry every now and then. It's not as much, not as prevalent as it used to be in my life, because I used to spend a lot of time writing that kind of particular section of things, because I feel like they have different audiences. Like there's some poems that really do sound musical and other ones that are just there. But no, every now and then if there's an idea I don't think it's going to work in any specific type of like musical context, then it's handy to get it out, have it somewhere.
And then for the other Sam, drummer Sam too, how did he kind of get involved in the band?
I found him on Facebook.
Okay.
He was.
I like to say it was on Facebook Marketplace, because it's funny to.
He was selling himself.
It's an inside joke kind of deal. But it was. I think there's a lot of groups on Facebook that are like musicians or for other musicians, and I think I posted something looking for drummers, and I found singers.
I think we lucked out on him,
and he just messaged me and was like, "Hey, are you still looking for a drummer?" I went, "Yes." So
we had the few interim drummers, and they were kind of flaked out a little bit, or weren't as available.
yeah,
But whenever Sam joined, I think we got lucky with him because he was just sort of like he'd moved over here a while before that,
yeah.
and he was sort of looking to get back into music right around the time that we were looking for a drummer, and the two kind of collided at the right time.
What were you kind of like advertising the band to potential musicians who wanted to join? Because like of the 3 tracks that are out so far that I've listened to, I mean, I think there's a lot of like versatility in the 3. Yeah, so I was wondering like what were the kind of like reference points I guess you were sending out to potential newcomers?
We just went by influences.
Chili's.
Big influence, especially for me, Ev and Dev, would be the Chili Peppers. And we kind of grew up with their music. I think we infused that with, like, Dev has a lot of Arctic Monkeys and more indie.
He's very indie rock.
Yeah.
And then
Didn't the press kit mention Sugar Babes or something?
Sorry?
Didn't the press kit mention like Sugar Babes or something?
But that's just really funny.
That was a thing for us for a while. We really wanted to cover How I Feel About You Now. Yeah, About You Know. Because I saw it years ago at I don't know if you've heard of the band Doubting from Balbriggan. Okay. Yeah, they're amazing. They're like an emo kind of band. But they one of the first shows I ever went to whenever I sort of started coming down to Dublin more. Because I only came down here 2020 for college. And one of the first shows I ever went to was one of theirs, and they played that, and I was like, this is amazing. If I'm ever in a band, we're covering this. And so I think I added it to our cover playlist, and you guys were like, oh yes, we're doing this.
We haven't gotten around to doing that.
What day? It will happen.
I can't remember. I heard someone actually. I was at the Next Big Thing festival in Dublin. Someone did cover that. I can't remember what off the top of my head now.
There's a decent chance it could have been Doubting. I can't remember if they were at the Next Big Thing.
I don't think they played
Recently, no.
I forget who I saw, but someone did cover that at Next Big Thing. Anyway. And yeah, because I remember like the room was kind of gone.
It's an odd song in that way that it's obviously a very pop, like glam pop kind of song, but the structure of it lends itself very well to some sort of heavy breakdown type deal with the way it sort of builds and then just breaks it into a chorus. It goes really well for electric guitar. Something about it is just chef's kiss.
I gotta ask, as you were mentioning, as the bass player, I mean, you mentioned Chili Peppers as like an influencer. I mean, do you find that? Do you kind of indulge in the Flea-esque kind of slapping, or how do you find kind of like your actual influences in terms of the bassist?
So when I started out in music, I've been playing music for over 10 years now. I was it started with guitar. It was a big influence. I had a huge amount of influence from Shanti and his kind of playing. And I think half of that kind of crossed over into bass, and I think a lot of the melodic kind of styles of Flea has also definitely had a huge influence on how I play.
Because the two instrumentations are very different. Like, you know.
They're very different, but they're all also just intertwined in the way.
Very complementary.
Exactly, and like a lot of what I've gotten from music has come influenced by Shanti and Flea, and how they kind of work together, which is why we like the collaborative process so much. It works really well to make it.
I cannot express how many times I've heard this man play Higher Ground. every single practice.
We will cover it at some point.
Yeah.
One day.
Definitely, Flea is a huge influence on kind of my playing.
Did you start as a guitarist and transition to bass?
I started as a guitarist, then I started on violin,
okay,
then piano, and then I think I picked up bass after starting the band because we had 3 guitarists. And that was a bit much.
As is tradition.
Somebody
has to play bass.
And I was the one who owned the bass, so I got the long stick. So I was.
Some might say the promotion, but okay.
Exactly. That's I got promoted. So
would you rather be first bassist or third guitar player?
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Actually, I have to ask this because I'm just interested. So when you did that transition, albeit the scene grew to bass from guitar. I mean, did you start off initially when you were learning bass, just like doing group notes?
A bit, but again, just I've never been a fan of very, very rigid plain bass lines. Now I know it works in some cases, but it's kind of the idea of guitarist goes and starts playing bass, and all of a sudden he's trying to play all these licks and play bass at the same time. Definitely had to kind of adjust to knowing where I was meant to be, and because we were very kind of I'm trying to think of the words with drummers, we were inconsistent with our drummers. A lot of the time I ended up being like the rhythmic anchor that we all had to kind of hold on to, so that kind of definitely had a huge influence on even now how I play, and you can hear it kind of in the songs we wrote before Sam too joined, because we didn't really have a drummer to anchor us down. It was always bass was anchoring everyone else down. I think Warn Yourself is the main example. It was definitely you can hear it kind of in that.
So I have to ask, and so as the bass, I mean, how do you find? Because like obviously you're playing against like two different guitarists. How do you find like in the mix, kind of like you differ, and kind of going back to like what we're saying about like the Chili Peppers and like how it's contrasting but kind of complementary. How do you find your dynamic in the band is? I guess.
Good question. We have our kind of. We know with Devon on the rhythm guitar, I kind of play off him the most. Mm-hmm. But there's also times where like Ev will have a nice riff, and I'm going to play off that. Like I'll play in the gaps and kind of fit in. It's a lot of musicality kind of goes into it. And it's just come with time where I've just picked up kind of this would be cool to add in here, and then you hear it in other songs. There's a few songs that we've written in the past where I really just don't like because the bass just doesn't fit right. And I've never gotten around to making it fit properly.
A lot of songs we have to rearrange.
A lot.
Well, how did you guys like find like doing things like bass fills and stuff like that? Were you confident in doing that, or was that something that you had to kind of just like adapt to? Or?
It's something I've gotten better at. It's a lot of just practice kind of and getting used to playing with the lads the way we've always kind of played, because I have this kind of bond with Ev and Dev at this point that we've actually been able to kind of play off each other so that the fills kind of fit where they should fit.
You can hear it a lot in when we jam, like the sort of closeness you guys have, where every now and then we'll just be jamming along and you and Ev will play the same fill at the same time, and I'm like, completely improvised.
You see, me and Sam, we have another connection where, like, if we get bored of playing the same thing, we just change the genre.
Oh my god, our
I
jams.
think that's how she came about.
Yeah, that is pretty much exactly that's how it came about. It was Ev
came in with this
Sam having the reggae buff syndrome.
I want to ask Sam about the kind of like logistics of this band. So I mean, like obviously it's a 5-piece, and you know, kind of working around everyone's like schedule and stuff like that. But I was wondering what's the distance you were mentioning from London. It's like I don't know. It's like is everyone kind of like where is everyone kind of like based? Is that like a difficulty in terms of arrangement of getting everyone together, or has that even been an issue? Really?
It's handy enough that 3 of them live like 5 minutes from one another. It's me and the other Sam that are the problem.
So you guys are all in Dublin?
Yeah, we're all in Swords, so
okay.
Like we're all within walking distance of each other, and Devon drives kind of to and from practice. The rest of the time we just take buses kind of deal.
Yeah.
Other Sam lives down near enough UCD kind of area, and I live in Monaghan, so it's basically other Sam also has like a life as opposed to the rest of us. He's got his wife and his kid and his job, and we're all just kind of slumming it out in college. So anytime he's not in work and I can make it down from Monaghan is basically when we practice. We've kind of fallen into this odd time slot of late nights on Sundays is when we manage to get practices in. It's handy enough for me because I stay in his spare room. Sam drives back home after everybody else is in Swords. It's not too bad. Yeah. It's a little bit more awkward when it comes to organising gigs, but we find our ways around it. Like sometimes Sam will miss a sound check. It's about it. It's handy enough getting weekday gigs because we're all sort of in college in Dublin anyways. makes it a little bit easier than if I was in Monaghan full time.
You were mentioning like you started college in 2020. I mean, obviously still like pandemic year. I assume it was autumn 2020 you began. Or did you come in the second half of the first semester?
Yeah, we were like a special case because I'd be in engineering, so we had workshops and that. So
Oh,
we
right,
had to be on campus. So
So I was wondering, like, would it have been like remote then, or like would you have actually been in Dublin?
yeah, we would have been remote 4 days a week, and then in 1 day a week.
So were you actually living in Dublin, or were you commuting?
I was commuting. Okay, still to this day.
Well, Dublin prices.
It still comes out cheaper somehow to get a 100-kilometer bus twice a day.
I can imagine. Probably cheaper just to, actually just, if you had to pay the petrol prices, like if you're driving, probably more cheaper. I gotta ask them. So, last autumn you guys kind of officially announced the band as a project. Had you, what's that kind of like when you guys kind of made it public, or had you kind of already been doing like gigs or so? Obviously you've been recording and practicing, but like had you been doing gigs, or was that just kind of like no, we're a thing?
The first gig was off the back of some friends of mine who had planned a gig in Figures and they knew that I had joined the band and that we'd been practicing for a couple of months at that point. And so they said to us, like, here, if you want this gig, it's in October, like, you can open up the gig, we'll happily have this. And that was with Skyrocket, who we went and played a few gigs with after that. Legend, we love Mikey.
Yeah.
But that sort of spurred it. That's when we went, alright, let's like nail down a set, what songs we're playing, that kind of like kick in the ass to get things going. But from that point onwards, it was...
Was it downstairs or
downstairs, downstairs in the basement. And I think we played upstairs after that. Yeah, we did the album.
We played upstairs.
It was like 2 weeks afterwards.
It was the same day we recorded Leave It Out. We also played upstairs in Fibbers.
Yeah, I think it was rugby on that day as well. We played Zombie that day. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
It's upstairs intimidating because, like, obviously, like, when it's downstairs, people are there for the gig, but, like, upstairs, like, you're just hanging out and then somebody's hand on,
Yeah, it's
weird.
It's odd because there's nowhere to put your gear, so you kind of show up with your gear, sit with it for a while, play, and then get off stage. But also at the same time, you have the kind of realization that some people just want to sit with their beer, they don't really want to see the music.
Yeah.
It's odd. The pretentious thing I've seen, the smoking there and just sit there. I've seen people use that as like a backstage, where it's like they make the introduction, they play the set, and they go off there. And then they come back and get their shit.
There's something nice about Fivers as like an entry-level venue. It's pretty easy to get a gig in, but it gives you sort of the baseline understanding of how it works.
Yeah.
Were you kind of familiar with the economy of doing gigs and kind of, because you mentioned your band, I don't know if you had played live before, so...
No, I actually hadn't.
This is like the first kind of proper...
orchestra.
I played in an orchestra for years, but
really? Okay.
never got paid for that. It was a youth orchestra, so I wasn't too...
Got paid in exposure.
Got paid in exposure, somewhat.
Yeah.
We weren't free. I don't think any of us actually knew what was going on when it came to gigs at all until we had started playing them.
Yeah.
I think now, a year on, or even like 6 months on since our first gig, almost probably more than that. Yeah. And that's kind of we're well used to at this point. We're booking our own gigs. We're playing outside of Dublin, and we're still alive. So that's.
We're very much on the self-booking train. Oh, it's so much nicer. We love working with promoters. It's nice to have somebody do the sort of the groundwork, but it's nice being able to set your own things in place. Like, this is where we want it, this is when we want it. Not sort of texting a promoter and being like, hey, can we have a gig, please, sometime around now?
Yeah, I mean, like, the self-promotion thing is, like, it's great because, like, just so much, like, direct interest venues. I mean, even I was thinking about, like, if like even now it's like kind of possible to like self-book like international dates where like at one point maybe it wouldn't have been, it's like you have to kind of like rely on other people to kind of know the venues and stuff like that, where now you can just kind of like go to Yelp and just like look at places and shit like that if that was something if you were going to like I don't know, the UK or Germany or something.
That'll definitely come in more in the second half of this year. We're looking more into like more dates around Ireland and possibly across the pond, like not the US, the other ponds.
More purpose-built tour.
Yeah, kind of end up on our accidental one this year.
Yeah.
Do like a package tour, wouldn't you? Like just get a few bands to go on.
I'd love to do that now. Have like us and another band just go on a kind of a purpose-built tour.
Yeah.
We've got some
national tour, UK and Ireland tour. We've made a lot of friends now with a lot of really, really good bands.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you just kind of like really got the ball rolling on it. Like it's just yeah. I mean, like I saw you guys like were you playing in Galway? So like, that's what I saw.
That was with DJ Green.
DJ Green, yeah.
Yeah. So where have you guys played? Like even in Dublin, like what kind of like clubs do you generally have you played? Like obviously Fibbers and stuff.
Dublin, we've done Fibbers, Soundhouse, Workman's. We'll be doing Unshaw in April. Trying to think. I've played Ground Social. We haven't played Ground Social as a band.
Not yet.
Where else? Like Shin has been on the cards a couple times, but we keep getting our dates stolen.
Oh no.
Beyond Dublin, we've played Drogheda in the Watchtower.
Oh, that's
which was a self-book. That was a nice one to book. It was cool to be
able
to...
Good experience, kind of. That was our first self-book.
Yeah, our first self-book as well outside of Dublin. Like,
so two different experiences at once. But that was a good gig, I think, just to start learning about what we were meant to be doing.
And then Galway was not really through a promoter, but it was an open call for bands for like a Thursday night sessions kind of type deal. But we just turned it into a wee getaway, a wee trip for ourselves. But definitely on the cards in the future. Like we're looking into, definitely want to look into some smaller towns. Because there's something nice about playing somewhere that isn't a massive venue, where kind of it feels nicer to have a smaller crowd in a smaller venue than a bigger one or the same crowd in a bigger venue. But definitely it'd be awesome to get together kind of a purpose-built tour as opposed to our accidental one.
Yeah, man. That's like really cool. I mean, like, I think that's like the one kind of benefits, I guess, like living in a country that's like it's relatively small in Ireland and stuff. I don't know, like going to like a big country like Australia or the US, Canada, Germany. It's like it's a real commitment to make like a national tour. Where kind of in Ireland, it's like if shit goes like kicks up, you're only like 2 hours away. You know what I mean? So I mean, do you think that's kind of been a benefit, I guess, of just like of where you're kind of playing and stuff, like, everything is in kind of like relative proximity, so it's not the big kind of commitment that could be, if you're in the favorite country, I guess.
I think you find with Ireland, it's a lot easier to book dates out of town because you don't have to make the commitment to playing them in a row.
Yeah.
Like if you were in somewhere like Germany and you're living in Berlin and you want to play shows in Frankfurt and Munich, all these places, you kind of have to string them together in one row of shows.
Yeah.
Whereas the beauty with Ireland is if we're in Dublin, we can day trip to Belfast, to Cork, to Galway if needs be.
Yeah.
So you could reasonably do a gig on a Saturday, a gig the next Saturday without too much financial commitment to it.
Yeah.
Whereas definitely anywhere larger, like I can't imagine how artists get by in the US where your nearest venues are 100 kilometers apart, and you're trying to play 10 shows in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say it's worse like in Australia because like in the US you got like there's like cities that are always kind of like 5 hours apart. You're always like 5 hours apart.
Eastern Seaboard kind of.
Yeah, but like in Australia, man, it's like like every day it's like an hour's pay. Like you're missing just like a full day just traveling. You know what I mean? It's insane. You have to like going just like looking into not for the tour, but just like the kind of difference just in terms of getting to places. I like unless you have like a proper like schedule. Anyway, I want to talk about the new EP that's coming out. So it comes out April 5th. Which songs have already been released are on it, and what songs haven't been released are on it?
So we have Leave It Out and Getaway are on the EP. I think Leave It Out was the first track and Getaway is the third, but then we also have 2 tracks that we haven't released yet. Now we played them pretty much almost every show. since starting out. I think we debuted Soul Stricken Mr. Black. I think we debuted at our second show. We didn't play that the first one.
She was our first gig.
She was at our first gig. So they're the two tracks, like she and Soul Stricken Mr. Black, and they're very different vibes. Just the two of them, like polar opposites.
I don't think there was at any point question that those were going to be the ones we put on the EP, because we're so well versed in them at this point that it was, if we don't put these on this, we're never going to release them.
Right.
So as soon as it was an opportunity to go into recording with the Beard Fair lads and get tunes out, that was pretty much the first thoughts was, okay, let's do this one and this one.
Yeah. Actually, what was it like recording there? Because I thought there's someone else who recorded there. I forget who it was. It might have been Touch Excellent.
Yeah, Touch Excellent.
I think it was Touch Excellent. They were kind of, they had like nothing but praise about that place. So I was wondering what it was like for you guys to record there.
We loved the guys down there.
Yeah, Rowan and Al are class, like they're great lads. Pretty much, I think for when we were recording for the other two songs for the EP, I think we went in about midday and we're gone at 6, and we had both songs fully recorded through.
Yeah, Leave It Out and Getaway were 2 separate day sessions, and we were like, alright, well, we don't know if we'll be able to find multiple dates that suit us to record these. Let's just find one long day and crank them both out.
Yeah.
I think we did them simultaneously. We did the drums for both songs and the bass for both songs, and then did the guitars separately, and at the end we had 2 tracks.
Actually, that's what Lenny from Touch Excellent was on. They were like...
They've been good friends of ours as well. We've played with them in Drogheda.
They were saying to me, like, that, when it came to... They just, like, recorded songs in bulk, and then just, like, had, like, a release pattern down the whole year. I think that's, like, really... I think that's, like, a really clever, like, strategy, you know what I mean? Like, because I think, like, when you release songs in bulk like that, the temptation is automatically, put out an EP, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, if you can just, like, if you can space it out, you get a lot more longevity for it, you know what I mean?
I don't think we expected the longevity of some of the songs.
Yeah.
Like, definitely when we saw the spikes when Leave It Out released specifically, we were like, alright, it's sort of going to go up and taper off. But it had some legs to it. Like, its most popular days were like a month ago, and the song's out 3 months ago.
Yeah, I talk to people like that. It's just like, it's just so arbitrary. Like, you just never know. I guess also, like, sometimes, like, shit just gets picked up in the algorithm, you know what I mean? It's just like
pretty much, yeah.
We try not to focus too much on the numbers. It's hard sometimes because you find the graphs. You're a Spotify artist account. You're like, look at this. Right, we have this amount of growth this month.
Well, I think also as a touring act, you have to kind of consider that, because if you're going to like fork out the money to go on the road and pay the venue and you have to kind of like assure people there. I don't know if you guys get like, it's been years since I've like booked shows, but like I remember like when I used to book shows for like my like shitty teenage bands, we're always like giving guarantees about like, well, if you can guarantee like 50 people will give you the venue for free, and I'd like to say even though I'd like put deal like 10 people show up. I was like, oh yeah, we can get, but like obviously I don't know if those arrangements are still on the cards, but like, just ensuring people kind of like turn up so that like, I know you can make some kind of like, so you can break even and not make a surplus, you know what I mean? Like, these are considerations. So, I mean, it's kind of shady that like, you have to kind of like consider like your metrics, but like, it's kind of like, I just think of like the necessary realities. That's something you have to consider about like, okay, where we're going to play shows, or like, you just kind of like book it and just like hope for the best.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Like, we always kind of need to consider. It's something I primarily kind of worry about, because I like procrastinating on everything else, so I may as well worry about something.
Why do college work when you can do AZURE work?
So like when we were booking for the EP release gig, we were looking at like, where can we play, where can we feasibly actually bring in a good crowd and make it look like a good crowd. So I think my hope was for like Sinead. They never got back to me. Okay. So, and then I think I messaged on. I found out our friends with one of the bands that are playing.
Okay,
they're playing on the day we were looking for.
Right.
So they stole it late. Pretty much we. I think I got on show, and I was like, do you guys have any dates? We had a few different dates we were going to play it, and are you free any of these dates? And I went, yeah, we're free. So we've got that now. And it's a small capacity, it's only 50 capacity, so we just went,
Fills out
it'll fill out, and I think it'll be a good gig. Like at McHugh's, it was
80 capacity or so.
80 capacity, and we had 40 or 50 people show up.
Yeah.
So it was a good crowd, kind of, for all three of the bands that played. So I think on show we should get a decent amount of people in. Like,
with the way we do the booking, half of our bookings come through sort of like affiliations, like somewhere like Galway where it's with DJ Green, or through Duhams with Trinity. And then outside of that, we sort of split the booking 50-50 between me and you.
yeah.
And I know personally, whenever I'm looking for somewhere to book, it goes, all right, like, is it somewhere we can get to? Is it somewhere people will come to?
Yeah.
Do we know local bands? Like, for Drogheda, we kind of looked at the U, our half from Drogheda. Touch Excellent had played Drogheda before and pulled a good crowd. Even we're looking at Navan, because I know a few people out that way who happily come to gigs, big crowds out there, and sort of made good friends with a band, New Teeth, who are from Navan, who very, very kindly gave me all of the booking information. It's nice to sort of bump into other bands with similar mindsets in that kind of way, where they're very willing, because I know, even I've said it to other bands before that we've talked to, if they ever need any booking anywhere I can give them the information for, I'll happily send it along. Mm-hmm. We had like a big booking document for a while. I still have it.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's like
rising tide, all ships, Dude,
it reminds me of like the kind of actually Chili Peppers was in Harvard, but then like in the 80s, like the kind of punk network, where bands would go on the road and then just like they give the bookers contacts for each club and stuff like that. So like if bands, so make it easier for the next band kind of comes up. I think it's like really cool that like kind of DIY spirit still like exists, even in like kind of the digital age now where you can just like Google a menu and kind of get the contact information. It can still be kind of like daunting to cold email somewhere to call. Like, you're on the phone, you just hear it ringing, like, you know what I mean? You're just, like, waiting to hear. It's like,
the venues love making their websites as confusing as possible.
Yeah.
They have 6 different booking agents.
Dude, the worst is, like, when you can't get contact information, so you go to, like, someone's, like, Instagram or, like, Twitter, and you just kind of, like, go into DMs, like, hey, we're looking to play here. You have no idea.
A few times.
I've also definitely gone, like, into a venue, they have 20 people they're following, and I'll go, alright, which one of these is the booker? It's definitely what it is.
That's actually a smarter idea, yeah. Or you just, like, go to LinkedIn, I guess, check out a venue.
Any way you can find someone to talk to.
Yeah. No, that's really clever, actually.
We're a big kind of, especially myself especially, we're big on kind of supporting just like the bands that we're kind of growing up with as well. So I think we built a network kind of bands between around Dublin and a bit broader as well, and just supporting each other as we go. So like Sam has a playlist full of small local artists. I have a different playlist that I'm always adding like new Irish songs, and trying to promote that, so we can all kind of grow as a group rather than growing kind of separately. Because exactly. At the end of the day, no band gets by themselves.
You can't play a solo show every show.
And it's not. It's never a competition. It's never like we're going to be better, unless it's Battle Bands.
In which case it was.
But it's always about kind of if you make friends with all these bands and you play gigs with these bands, it's gonna obviously show that these bands are all like friendly, and your fans are gonna cross over, and then it just gets kind of to that point where it's all very interconnected. If you think back in the 2000s when Chili Peppers went on tour, they went on tour like Foo Fighters, they've gone on tour with Nirvana. They also went with Pearl Jam. Pixies. They've toured with loads of these acts that were the same size of them, all growing at the same time and getting to this huge level, just because they were all sound together and they were all friends and they all.
How music works nowadays, a lot of it is consistency, like the way I like to think of it is there's a 1 in 1,000 chance on any given day that somebody in the scene will blow up.
Yeah.
So if you make as many friends as possible and you stay close to enough bands, even if it's not you that gets the sort of the algorithm push that everybody else gets, like if a band you're good friends with randomly blows up 10,000 monthly listeners, 20,000 monthly listeners, you're still friends with them.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm so happy for you.
yeah. Like if you're willing to offer booking information and opening slots, and if you need to borrow this equipment, you can borrow it from me. Like, they'll do the same in return. So it always helps to have friends in high places, and you never know which friends are going to be in high places in future. Like,
Actually, I want to talk about the EP just one more. So obviously, I mean, the band's name, AZURE, is like very Irish, but the EP's title is very Irish too. I was wondering if you could talk about first of all, what it is and how you guys kind of landed on it.
that was
It was a throwaway line.
originally a throwaway line and leave it out. It started out because I think it was years ago, the poem that I originally took the line from, whenever I was 16, 17 years old, I was not great at finding good rhymes.
Yeah.
But I think it was around the time, there was an election or something around the time, but I was disillusioned. So, I think as a 17-year-old, I was not exactly very politically knowledgeable, but I went, the Dáil, back at the House of Dáil. It didn't flow quite correctly, so it changed to Casa Del Dáil for some reason. I'm not quite sure where the etymology
Casa
of
Del
the
Dáil.
word I went.
Yeah.
I just decided, all right, well, the House of Dáil now is just going to be Casa Del Dáil. And from there, whenever we were trying to name the EP, I think we went through like a fair amount of names. And then, was it you or was it Dev just threw it in and we all went, yeah, that works.
I can't remember who it was. I think we just went, what about this? And
It was...
yeah.
It hit that kind of sweet spot between it's not boring, it's just enough to elicit some sort of interest, but also it's not like 5 sentences long, it's just sort of succinct, kind of conjures a mental image.
It's kind of funny and catchy too. Like it kind of like some of those things are, What's the album art for? I haven't seen this. So what's the album art for the EP?
Copy of it, sure.
Yeah, we worked with artist Chloe Hart, who does the EP covers for Ray the Outsider.
Okay.
They're a pop punk band in Drogheda and sort of Louth area. And I sort of spotted one of their EP covers. I was like, this is great. Like, who did this? I went through, found the artist. We sent a message, like, here, how much are you looking? Like, we'd love to do something. So each of the small images represents a song in the EP.
Okay. I see, yeah.
And it goes along with the main image, and we're actually one massive fans of that piece of artwork.
It's really nice. Each member should get
very
like
happy
one
with
tattoo.
Who gets which? We have to assign these out.
I think when I was talking to Chloe and trying to get the art sorted, and she sent the concept for it, which was very similar to it.
Yeah.
And I just went, that's really, really cool. And kind of from there, we managed to get...
Yeah, because it wasn't originally the 4 representing
No, it
songs.
was just 3 random little images. And I kind of just went, what if we had one for each of the songs? So we had the Beatles for Soul Stricken Misfit Black. Don't ask why, it just is.
Yeah.
Rose for She, Car for Getaway, and then the Demon for Leave It Out, based on the album art that we had for that as well. So kind of... It's kind of... It has nothing to do with the name or...
Yeah.
It's just...
It evokes the same kind of emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to sound too English major, but... you get the same kind of vibe off of it.
Yeah.
But,
as Walter Benjamin said, evokes the aura.
Yeah. It was... I think the inspiration behind it was related to, like, old Matchbox art.
Yeah. Some of the reference images that get sent. As soon as we saw those, we were like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like 100% roll with this idea. We want to see
when I
how
was
it
looking
works
at it,
out.
it really does kind of remind me of like a tattoo shop you see like in like, I don't know, in like a coastal city in like 1920s or something like that. Like Navy tattoos, I guess, kind of what I'm trying to say. I mean, that's like sick. So, Yeah, so on Shaw, it releases April 5th.
It releases April 5th, and then the gig will be April 8th. So that's
Okay. So, I mean, like, you guys excited? I mean, how do you feel? That, like, the turnaround rate's been really quick. I mean, since the announcement to actually get the first EP out.
But
then again, for you, it's probably been like, 6 years.
It's felt like an age.
7 years.
It's been what, 2 months at least since we recorded the songs, and how long since we wrote them?
Yeah, we recorded the songs in January, and we've been sitting on them for about a month and a half.
It's kind of like twitchy, isn't it? Like,
we've just been like madly because we released Getaway at the end of January. So before we had even released Getaway, we had the entire EP recorded, and I think we had the first mix of everything sent, or for She and Soul Stricken sent around that time as well. And I think between then, we had a few revisions and changes made, but we were just kind of sitting on them. And then as soon as I got that album art, I just went, or we had a plan like to release. Initially, we wanted to release sometime in March, but we just kind of went, there's not enough kind of
some uncertainties about whether or not it would be good timing. We had the Drogheda gig. We didn't want to play a gig in Dublin too close to the Drogheda gig, and we also didn't want to release while we were in Drogheda because we wanted it to be a home crowd for our EP release. I wasn't certain if I'd be free.
So I think we went for 5th of April because it's just kind of it's a good timing. A lot of friends of ours, they've been releasing over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And I know a few other songs that are coming out over the next few weeks. So it's kind of just dotting about. A lot of local Irish artists are releasing all at the same time around springtime
in our network.
Which is really good for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect timing, kind of, because I think DC was off. It was then off for. I think it's off on that Friday. It's finished lecturing or teaching for the summer.
Yeah.
And I think us and Trinity were off the week after that. So it's a good timing as well. It's like right at the end of summer, or right at the end of college time, and then everyone's off.
These summer anthems.
Summer anthems, exactly.
School's out.
Bit of reggae for the summer.
I guess I have two final things I want to ask. One is, you kind of mentioned like you're still in college now, so are you guys in your final year, or are you like multi-year?
I'm in second year.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So same as Dev and Ev. We're all second year in different places.
Yeah.
I'm in third year in my course.
So how do you find that kind of balance? Because like I was thinking if it was something that was kind of like if the band was kind of coming on the end of like your last semester or something like that would make a lot of sense. But now it's like balance, and obviously I assume also like dissertation and stuff like that at the end of the year. So that's going to. Sorry to get too personal. Is it a BA 4-year kind of course? Yeah.
I think you're a
BA.
You're a BEng.
Yeah. Engineering.
I think I'm MAI 5-year.
All right.
So I still have a bit of time left. I think Dev is a BA. I think.
Yeah.
As is Ev. So I think they're still 2 years off.
Yeah, they're in DOS degrees though. Of course, they're not in engineering like us.
You want me to edit that out?
Yeah, strike that. Too many art students are like fans of us, so we don't want to upset them too much.
I don't think anybody complains about engineering more than we do.
And I guess the final thing I'll ask, so obviously the EP is coming out soon. Then the launch date is covered. I guess the final thing is beyond that, what's the rest of 2024? All for you guys, what's the plans? I assume more gigs, right?
Well, ideally, I think we've been looking into festivals now since the start of the year just to see what's around and what's going on and what will take us.
Is just kind of cold email callers.
A lot of just cold calling, pretty much.
Cold emailing, a couple of application forms, following up on a couple of leads we can find.
I'll give you, actually, off the record, I'll give you the name of someone who kind of does a lot of promotion stuff. But one thing I did notice, because this person shares a lot of these kind of newer festivals that come around are are, I think, like being a lot more accessible in that avenue where it's like they're just kind of like saying just about, you know what I mean? Like a lot of like up and coming festivals are kind of doing that, and I think that's really cool because like I think like, you know, when people think of like, you know, kind of like bigger festivals like Electric Picnic or something like that, it was often quite it was like, oh, we have to have like a manager. You know, there's all these like hoops you have to kind of jump, and now people are, I think, like kind of breaking down barriers, so it's kind of getting easier. I think, like, not to say like they'll select you necessarily, but just like to actually apply is it's getting a lot easier. I think. I don't know if you guys find that.
And even like a lot of the big festivals are very easy to kind of apply for and to play. Like, I think we managed.
It's easy to make a short list.
Yeah.
I think we applied for Glastonbury. Like.
That's just open.
But it was open to anyone. Yeah. So like, and I think since COVID and after COVID kind of ended and all that, there was a real drop in like small underground music.
Yeah.
And I think it's only now starting to grow again. It's starting to get really, really big.
Do you know what I think it is as well? Is a lot of, with what happened with like the pandemic and all that sort of crippling the music industry for a while, a lot of people realized that there was a lot of redundancies in how stuff was run. Like a lot of middlemen who were like taking applications from point B to point C and nothing else in between. They were doing no real work of value.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure obviously they were doing something, like they wouldn't be there if they were doing nothing, but like a lot of the time it was literally just festivals selecting from a crop of bands that the promoters they were working with already knew.
Yeah.
There was so much like higher of a step to get to that first barrier, because you had to sort of reach that point. There's a couple of different barriers where it's, you know, you release your first sort of tracks, you get on like you start rolling the snowball, it gets bigger and bigger. And then when you finally get to that point where you get into one festival, from there it's bam, into all the other ones. It's that first hurdle is the hardest one to get over. I think as soon as we came out of COVID, a lot of people realised like there's not too much sense to having this arbitrary barrier to entry. It's a lot nicer if we can, you know, see the entire playing field and choose from, you know, the cream of the crop rather than like the restricted one.
Yeah, to be kind of like, I guess, charitable to their perspective. I guess like when you do have something that's just like open to the public like that, you can get like inundated and it's hard to kind of discern.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see both sides too. Like, but I do think like having a more kind of accessible approach, especially for like small festivals, like but like something like Glastonbury, as you mentioned. I mean, like I can't even imagine the quantity of applications.
If we're applied, like.
It's insane, like, you know, like imagine like, you know, like imagine like people all over the world. It's like, you know, it's probably more manageable when it's like a local show. You know, where it's like
I love seeing the smaller festivals. Like even I know last night there was one in, I think it was the Grand Social.
Yeah.
Or St. Patrick's Day sort of festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool to see. There's so many great bands that I adore and slightly disheveled bands I've been listening to for ages. But it's, you know, it's great to see these sort of smaller grassroots festivals.
Yeah, these are popping off. Yeah, what's the proper?
EXO does a lot of them.
EXO, EXO do
yeah, Next Big Thing, and then you have your ones to watch.
Yeah.
There's One Cruel Sister in the Door playing Happy Days.
Yeah.
They're having their second anniversary this year. There's a whole bunch of them. A lot of them running Workmans and that.
There's one coming up that I'm helping promote. Well, doing an article for Queer Fest, which is like specifically.
I would say about it.
Well, it's like great, like little festivals popping up. I think that's like kind of the future. These kind of like connections we're making. Actually, one thing I want to ask is like as people who are doing this kind of like for the first time, and kind of getting yourself out there. I mean, you guys have been like I think very successful, like just in terms of the trajectory so far. The turnaround rate's been like crazy. I mean, I already have like 3 songs out and like EP coming out, just like, you know, like less than a year from kind of like publicly announcing that. Like playing like outside city. Like I know bands who have been around for years and still never got outside Dublin. One thing I gotta ask is like when it comes to the press and kind of getting like radio play or kind of on playlists or even just like something like this, like just getting an article or an interview or anything like that. How have you found that access?
That's probably been, of everything that we've done, it's probably been the hardest thing to do. Because even for festivals and booking gigs, it's really accessible nowadays because people want people to play gigs. When you go to here, you're messaging people and they're telling you to email them, and then you're emailing them and they never get back to you, or you have to apply through a form, or it's tricky.
Are you focusing on domestic outlets, or are you doing international and domestic outlets?
I focus on whoever I can find. It's a lot of cold calling because you'll get a few responses and then you won't. So I think we've messaged a few, especially for the EP now, because we gave ourselves the good timeline, which we learned from the 2 singles. We just didn't give enough of a timeline to actually do proper promotion and get ourselves out there. So we've been messaging and emailing and reaching out to all our friends and other bands. Like, do you have any contacts for media?
Who can I talk to here to get to talk to this person?
It's just it's very long-winded, but I think it's just because we're so new to it. We didn't do it properly at all. It's starting to all come together, and then like the radio play is probably one of the hardest things I think we've done. I think
it's really rewarding though.
It's really rewarding.
Hearing some it's even if it's a smaller radio station, just hearing somebody with some level of authority shout you out almost.
We got featured there,
Dublin
South Dublin, and see the presenter as well was at one of our gigs. So
yeah, that was
really cool
because we heard him mention it online, or not online, on the broadcast. We were like, which gig? When did he come to a gig? I didn't know. I think it's a lot as well.
It's good not to know though.
It's really rewarding.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, we've made it on the radio. People have heard our music, and it's a really cool thing to experience.
We call it by name. You don't know how many people are listening, but you assume it's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know my radio figures anymore. But I think it's nice to sort of in this day and age. I think in the past it would have been, less onus on the artist to do it.
Yeah.
Because I think with sort of the advent of everybody can do it themselves, there's less focus on like going through record labels and promoters and all this sort of thing. The way you can do it yourself means it's sort of on you to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to bare your soul to random people via email. Like,
the interesting thing is, I find a lot of musicians are actually quite introverted. They're quite shy and quite obviously I think that's probably part of creating art, is being kind of insular and kind of
creative disposition.
Exactly, but there is that onus now on them to kind of self-promote, have to kind of be like, do you like our music? And it's there's a lot of rejection. It's a lot of no, we're not. And it's it's really soul-destroying. It's I guess what I give it the kind of equivalent to people who aren't in the artistic space is when you're unemployed and applying for jobs and you're just getting thanks for your application, unfortunately we won't be proceeding with next time. It's a very similar kind of feeling every week or something, and that's if they get back to you at all.
Every email feels like a job interview where you're in there trying to convince people, or you have to come to the show.
It's very rewarding when you do kind of get one person. I think sometimes it is as hokey as this sounds, it is true. Sometimes it is just kind of a break where you go, oh shit, it kind of gets out of your mission, the snowball rolling. It's oh shit, this person took an interest, this person shared this post, this person played this song, this person mentioned this, kind of gets the ball rolling. I think, as you were mentioning, I think there is a huge benefit in being kind of connected to the scene in that sense, where it's again, if there's a spotlight being shown on this band that you're friends with, there could come an opportunity down the line. I mean, it's crazy to me. I was seeing, actually, as I was walking here, I saw a poster for somebody's child playing the Olympia, and I was I remember them just as the sport active team and stuff like that. It really can get so quickly removed. And I remember the Riptide movement got really big, and they were just what's going on Grafton Street.
It's definitely hard to say.
It's kind of cool. I think the Irish artists again, I think we have kind of the benefit of sort of being, again, such a small country. We're not as atomized as perhaps other places where even somewhere like UK, which isn't that much bigger than us, but it's there's the Brighton scene, it's all this, even in London itself, it's the South scene, the South Central scene. I think it's sort of benefit we probably have here. I don't know if you feel
it's nice with the Dublin scene having it being one scene, even though the other bands kind of
so interconnected.
Yeah. There's nobody who really only plays Cork or only plays Galway that would never, if offered, if the opportunity was presented, go to Dublin.
Yeah.
So you kind of get the influences of all of the other different smaller scenes around the country.
Yeah.
It's for this, you can hear it a lot in like the newer wave of bands who are going off of previous bands who blew up. Like I hear a lot in like this sort of this wave of noise rock in Ireland at the minute as well, who it's all Gila bands. Like one band in a movement blows up and suddenly every single other band in the scene is like, okay, we're going to go that direction.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's very insular. Like it's self-replicating almost.
Yeah. And actually the Fibber scene that you guys kind of come from, I mean, has that kind of attitude too, where you're kind of like meeting bands just playing and stuff like that. I think there's again, not to get too hokey, but like the kind of camaraderie of like, you know, even if you're like the music styles are different, even if there's like not a lot of overlap between what you're doing and this person's doing, it's kind of like, hey, we're still like,
we're all in this together.
If one person goes up, we can all go up. There's no one specific. I know in the US it's kind of a lot more like you're trying to fight with 300 million people, probably a couple thousand bands in your local area that you're just trying to be seen more than. Whereas over here it's very interconnected. Everyone will be friendly with everyone. Like, the bands we've met, we played with, or bands we want to play with.
There's like 2 degrees of separation with basically anybody.
In the past year or so, especially since we started playing a lot, I've gone to any gig I can find, kind of deal. And I've met a load of great bands, and especially since at the start of this year in college, I joined the Alt Music Society, and I joined that and became a member of the committee. And since there, I've made a huge amount of friends and connections and with other acts. Like we're playing a showcase with 5 other really, really great bands on Monday week with the Alt Music Society. Well, not Monday week, next Monday. And like it's huge connections. And Sam has a lot of connections in DC Wayne's from his years on the committee as well. And it's all interconnected. We're all friends. We all just kind of want to see everyone do really well.
It's always amazing to see a band, like, when you've played with them before, or if you've been to their gigs as a really small band, you've sort of seen them at that grassroots level, see them go on to great things. Like, I remember I went to a gig before it was the Sykes, Bashed and Ratios, I think, played with it. Ratios got a promoter a couple of weeks after, blew up, played all over Ireland. The Sykes were on, who is it? Defan? 2FM? Yeah, they were on a little documentary thing with him. Bashed are doing a UK and Ireland tour at the minute. They're playing in Manchester this week, as far as I know. It's crazy to just see how quickly, fortunes can change. No, it's awesome. It's nice to see just over time, sort of, the bands who are at your level sort of grow, and then you look back and you see bands that are smaller grow. It's really awesome.
I guess I've asked everything I had to ask. I guess is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I don't have it.
I think it's about it.
Go to the show.
I think I've babbled on enough.
Go to the show. Go to any shows that you can, like support the local art. If you support the local artists support everyone else. Hopefully, eventually, we'll actually get good late night balls.
Yeah.
The energy you give the scene will come back to you.
Every year, it's like, I don't think it'll be this year.
Every single year, it's like, next year, we got it. It's grand. We gotta iron out some details.
I've seen plenty of venues. Like there's a venue in Swords, which I believe it's going to be shutting down because of just the lack of people that are showing up. And it would have been a great venue to play a gig at. I don't want to name anything because it's only rumours. But it's like we were at it, myself and Devin, we were at it last night. It was just dead on Paddy's Eve and Paddy's night.
It's difficult to play venues that are outside the city. Outside the city centre.
There's no venues outside city centre. It's a big thing.
The only one I can think that's kind of like is bit successful is the Lighthouse in Dunleary. They kind of do okay, but
I've heard that. I haven't been there now.
It's just kind of like a pub setup for them. I'm trying to think like this. There's that place, the Hut in Fitzborough. They do shows.
The furthest out ones are like the Racket Space, kind of out in Phibsborough, far into Phibsborough.
They're all still within reasonable proximity to the city centre.
There's no venues that are really outside of a Dublin bus away.
But see, the difficult thing is, like, you kind of, like, look at, like, a venue, because, like, I was mentioning that when the Port of Phibsborough, and I wanted to go to a show there, but, again, I don't drive, so it's like, I have to, like, get the bus, and I was like, by the time the gig be over, I have to get a bus to the city centre, then back home. It's just, like, this big, like, logistical thing, where you kind of keep things in, because, like, actually, there's, I think, like, the furthest way would probably be, like, that's even not even that far from the city centre, but somewhere, like, what's that area called? Rock Mines, okay, that area, and what's the name of that? Well, there used to be the Bowery there. That was like one of my favorite spots.
Oh, lanes down that way.
And what's the other place that I can't think of? The Bar. That's kind of the area there. Yeah,
that's doing well now.
Yeah, but that's not too far from.
It's a lovely location. Like,
it's
about playing on the canal is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a very nice spot. But like that's doing well. That's kind of like, I think probably about as far from what the city centre as you get. I think that's not too far. Just up from like Exeter Street. It's kind of.
We'd love more kind of small venues to be opening around outside of town.
The problem is getting an audience there.
Like we have a huge audience in Swords, and we'd love to have had a venue there that we can play kind of without having to lug full PAs and everything. Like that's the huge challenge.
The killer,
you can bring in. You don't have
the setup.
The setup for a rock band.
Yeah.
Based on requirements, you kind of want to have a PA and a drum kit. Anything else you can bring yourself pretty handily.
A PA is the main thing. A drum kit we can source. Amps we can source. It's just the PA is the one thing we don't have and we can't afford.
It's a pain in the arse.
No, it's a huge pain in the arse. Like, hopefully with the growth of the underground scene will come a growth in kind of the nightlife in town, and that can grow out. Huge.
Better transport, 24-hour transport. I think.
I need the same.
We got very lucky with we have the 101 and the 41, both 24 hours, go straight through Swords. And I think almost every route should be 24 hours. It doesn't make sense. So, even if you had a night link that covers
even
like
night
2 or 3 parts of the route, like a longer bus is still a bus.
Even ones like, you get the ones that go like at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, those are even handy now. It's whenever the bus stops at 12 on the dot and doesn't go any later, it's a bit
Dude, I remember like around New Year's, Lewis kept running to like 2 in the morning, I think each night. It's just so handy. Like I was at New Year's night, I was able to get to like the last Lewis home because the club shut down at 2. It's like if they just had it run for like 2 hours, it doesn't even have to be 24/7. Just like an extra 2 hours is so here. You know what I mean?
I think there was a couple of buses that made temporary all-night buses during that period as well, and it was beautiful. Being able to go out in town and not have to leave at 11 o'clock at night because you're either going to have to walk all the way to Glasnevin or Portobello or wherever the hell you are. Like.
And actually, it was kind of safer too because they put extra security on for the late nights too. You know, so it was like safe. Anyway, that was a bit. Thanks very much for your time, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. If you liked it, please subscribe and stick around because we have plenty more like this coming soon.